Nothing prepares you for this moment in life where you have an image of yourself projected on the screen behind you, which is like 5 times your real size, but anyhow. So today I'm going to speak about... Oh, yeah, thank you. So today I'm going to speak about crypto scamming, Twitter bots. Hopefully in 25 minutes time, you'll all have a better understanding of how it works. And afterwards, you'll be able to understand how we can prevent it and troll some operators on the way, which is probably the part you're all in for. And we'll also try to predict kind of a bit about like future trends, current situation. So let's see how it goes. We'll start with like how I got into this mess. Proceed into like a local and global scale analysis of the issue, how we can understand like a single tweet, and then in the context of a campaign. Also, we'll go to the part you're all here for, me trolling crypto scamming Twitter bots operators, and also some fortune telling, me trying to predict the future, if you trust me, which I'm not sure you should. Anyhow, why you should even listen to me? That's me, by the way, in the mask. First and foremost, I'm a B-Sides aficionado. That's actually me, back from 2016. First B-Sides, first talk of me ever being all like sleeved up, like the businessman I am. I had nothing to, like, no idea what B-Sides is back then. And B-Sides was the first place who provided me the stage to speak on, and I'm really like, fingers crossed that one of you in the crowd here today will speak for the first time after you will, research something exciting. So that's first things first. Also, as Karen said, I'm a full-stack researcher. I did basically anything from disassembly, low-level stuff, to AppSec and cloud. And also, I'm into all kinds of campaigns. Here, for example, that's actually like my Purim costume, disguised as a copy kitten, which was like an Iranian APT campaign we've analyzed back then. I was the one naming them copy kittens, by the way. And I'm also into proving stupid claims, or just like claims which, we make a lot of claims, and you'll see in a sec what I mean. But I'm into just like, yeah, sure, we can do that. Okay, let's test it out. Why not? We're people of science here. So, how I got into stupid, like, crypto scamming Twitter bots. It doesn't seem like the first thing like a sane person will choose to research. So, like, that's meme number 1 for the day. It actually was a long time ago in a galaxy far away. I've seen this tweet. You can see it was back in 2021. And they've mentioned a couple of brands there, MetaMask and Trust Wallet. I had basically no idea what either of those was. But the interesting part was the responses to this tweet. Those 4 responses alongside others were all pretty synthetic. I suspected that it is like bots. Back then, I knew what bots are. I didn't explore them like thoroughly, but it looks really weird. We're all trying to lure them into clicking onto a Google Forms link. Others were trying to lure them into clicking on like Gmail, like corresponding on like Gmail accounts, maybe direct messages in Twitter or other platforms. It all seems like pretty weird. And I was sure those are bots, but will they respond to anyone mentioning these brands? Now I have the magic necklace. Anyhow, is it that stupid that if I'm mentioning these brands, bots will just respond to me? It can't be that stupid, right? Right? Well, what you know, as I said, I like to prove claims. So this is why I tweeted the following tweet with the sensible sentence. Trust Wallet, MetaMask, issue PancakeSwap, BTC ETH, issue prevents Doge, as in Dogecoin, the nice one with the Shiba Inu face. And what do you know? It works. I got this response seconds later. Of course, this bot tried to lure me into some kind of fraud, which I still wasn't fully aware of what it is exactly. And I did a kind of a game with my friends. Who can trigger the most bots in a single tweet? I think I'm holding the record with 17 bots being triggered in a single tweet. You can play it with your friends afterwards. Highly recommend it. But why? Why? In order to understand why, let's do a quick game. How many of you in the crowd today are familiar with one different cryptocurrency type? Most of us, yeah, Bitcoin, haha, 3 different. I think I also do 5. Yeah, those are all the stupid meme coins, Dodge, etc. How many of you actually owned a single type of cryptocurrency? I did, and 3 different ones. No, I didn't. I didn't went this stupid. How many of you actually used cryptocurrency for anything else than buying another cryptocurrency? Whew, quite a lot of people. So MetaMask is one of the ways, or Trust Wallet, or all of these like crypto wallets is one of the ways you can do just that. It looks like this in the browser extension form. You can actually use your crypto assets to pay for stuff. What you know, it might be useful for actually like something. As you expect, you set up a password, but the more interesting thing is something called the secret recovery phrase, or SRP for short. It's a combination of 12 simple words, and there's like a very large warning when you set it up, when you actually get it once you create a wallet. Please do not provide it to anyone, no matter what, not in a customer support scenario, no matter what, just like don't provide it to anyone, please. We beg you. Why, you ask? Well, because you have this screen. And this like key phrase, like the SRP, the secret recovery phrase, can be used to create a new password, which makes sense because it is not a bank. You want to have some kind of a backup mechanism to regain your funds. It's a lot of crypto assets and a lot of money implied. And if you own this SRP, well, another meme for today, he who controls the SRP controls the wallet. And if you have the SRP, you have basically full control over the wallet. Yeah, all of you Dune fans out there. Okay, so we now kind of know how we all got into this mess, but let's make some sense out of the nonsense. Trying to understand how it works and how we can leverage the fact that it works this way to prevent it. Let's go one level deeper. This is the actual email. Once you actually start correspondence with the fraudsters, this is the kind of email they're sending. And the important thing is like the link back there. Oh yeah, please come and restore access to your wallet. No matter what you tweeted about, this will be their kind of what they're pushing for. And you will go to a website which looks like this. Of course, that's a phishing website, very similar to the previous legit one we've seen. And whenever you'll insert the SRP, they will get it, and they will get your crypto assets. Okay, another example, Google Forms. A lot of bots were like pushing Google Forms, and they will have this nice question as part of the Google form. Please provide us your top secret phrase. Don't worry, it's an encrypted bot. No man will never see it. Trust me, bro, guarantee. Kind of a situation. People are falling for that, I guess. Otherwise, they will never do that. It's kind of silly to us, but it works, I guess. And the DM variant will be also very simple. They will speak with you a bit, and they will push you into clicking into a link to a phishing website, as you can see. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. A user tweets something, a bot responds, and from there it can be like there's a free potential branches here. It will either be Google Forms, which is the end game, and you will provide the SLP there. And if it is kind of a DM or a conversation of an email, they will try to shift you into a malicious website, phishing website, basically. But now I'm trying to think like the fraudster, the scammer. They're into money. They're not after fame. They're not like script kiddies. They're not after intelligence. They're not like an APT group. They want to make money. That's like the top and only priority from their standpoint. And bot operation, like operational cost, it is not for free by any means. So they're trying to maximize their gains, and there's also another function here. I call it the lead conversion ratio, a bit of a marketing term. They have potential clients, and they want to convert them into paying clients or victims, as we know them. And they want to be as optimal as possible. So they must have what I call an IOC, kind of loaning this term from the malware research world. They want to have like a clickable URL or a very clear DM, someone to speak with, a link to a Google form. They can't avoid that if they want to have a good conversion ratio of their victims. They want to have it as aggressive as possible. And this forces their hand into being vulnerable, in my opinion. So what I did was pretty simple. First, I was looking for anyone mentioning the word MetaMask, for example. Then I looked for anyone mentioning a potential IOC in the responses. Pretty straightforward, right? Looking for email addresses in strings is nothing new. And then I was looking in kind of who spams those IOCs across Twitter, because what I've seen is they're not like going low and slow. They're just like going all over the place with their bots. They're trying to get the most out of the fake user before Twitter shuts it down. So, some stats for nerds. I actually did this research, like the entire setup was running for about half a year. Over 550 email accounts were like associated with known kind of scammers were retrieved. Thousands of suspicious links and like usernames associated with all of that on Twitter. And the interesting thing is like most of the emails were pretty straightforward. It was just like metamask live.io@gmail.com. So it is very easy for, let's say, Google to prevent this kind of scams, or at least like raise the bar, which is all we're here for, I guess. Also, about a third of the suspicious links were Google forms, but we'll speak about it later in the presentation. And there were a lot of like Telegram accounts, and even more curiously, there were like 75 Instagram accounts, but it works, so we don't if it works for the scammers, it works for us, I guess. Another interesting kind of trend line, I was trying to look wherever there's like an increase, or when like Elon took over Twitter and he told us there will be no longer any bots. Is it like the actual case? Well, no, it wasn't. The only case where I've seen spikes was after some crypto exchanges were hacked, so users were more vulnerable into being scammed, and fraudsters understood that, of course. And they were more likely to be targeted because they were like, oh no, I need to get my funds back really quick. I will fall for anything. So those are part of the spikes you're seeing here. Another interesting graph is I've tried to understand like how long an IOC can survive before it is getting shut down. And the left side of the graph is like a day or two, which is like accounts for about a third of the population of IOCs. But there were some who survived over a month. Those are the top offenders, and I've realized that there's like nothing like in common across them. Those are very like straightforward like Gmail addresses. They should get detected like way, way faster than over a month being actively used in public Twitter campaigns to spread fraud. But maybe it's just me thinking that. Okay, so that's the kind of the vanilla algorithm, but then I did a nice pivot on this data. I decided that, okay, we now know who the bots are. Let's see who they are replying to. Like, what's the original tweets triggering the bots? Assuming that bots are being reused across multiple campaigns, because it's cheaper to have one bot for a few campaigns. It won't get shut down as fast, or at least it will be more like economical for the fraudsters. So what I did is I aggregated, like I've counted all of the words in the tweets bots are replying to, filtering out like words which are 3 letters or shorter, or like by parts of speech analysis, filtering out like M's and R, and I got to like the most common keywords. And I was able to find new keywords this way, like a ledger, for example. I didn't know it will trigger bots, but it did, at least back then. This like from my GitHub account, doing all of this orchestration behind the scenes. And it just worked. And I think this method, by the way, can be like kind of reused in different scenarios. Very useful one to remember. Okay, so now we know like how we got into this mess, how we can make some sense out of this nonsense and analyze the bot's behavior. And now we're here for the fun part. Yeah, it's coming. So that's like the email I got from the scammers. Oh yeah, please go to our phishing websites. It's like totally legit. Please provide us your SRP over there. And this was my response. Oh no, I'm trying, but I keep getting an error message. Here's a screenshot. Screenshot.jpg, wink wink. Little did I know it wasn't a screenshot or a JPEG. It was a fingerprinting server. I used the webhook.site, and thanks for Gleb Glaskov, who actually told me about this website a few years ago. Any kind of a server will do the same for you, but I got the fingerprint this way. And I got their IP addresses and like some data about the user agent they use, some headers, and it pointed to Nigeria. Okay, we all use VPNs every now and then. It might be this case, right? And then I've noticed this thing. There's like a very strange Android device, which was part of the user agent, X6515. What the hell is this device? I did what anyone will do, of course, and I Googled it. And what do you know? It's the #1 phone, at least it used to be back then, being sold in Nigeria. So I guess that they are from Nigeria, right? Another fun experience I had was getting these two responses like 7 seconds apart. So, of course, what I did was speaking with the criminals and telling them, oh no, I don't know which one is real. I don't want to be a victim, only to be reassured by the fraudsters. Trust me, bro, don't worry. Those are my other teammates. So I don't even know if it is like the truth or not, but it gives you kind of a perspective of how they are treating the meta of this like fraud campaigns to some extent. And they are fully aware of like how bizarre this kind of a fraud scheme is. Also, by the way, they were trying to push me into a website which was also registered in Abuja, which is the #9 large city in Nigeria. So another kind of thing which points back to Nigeria. And kind of a sibling fraud I was trying to research. He asked me to transfer money into his account, in this case the fraudster, and I did the same thing, URL shortener pointing to webhook.site, and what do you know, IP was again from Nigeria. By the way, I'm not saying that Nigerian people are all criminals, or in fact that they are even Nigerians specifically. It was just like pointing back all to Nigeria. And also an important note, please treat your operational security very carefully, and don't do, if you're doing this back home, it's at your own risk, of course, and you don't have to, I did it already for you, so do it at your own risk. Okay, so we are now familiar with like how it all got started, how you can actually do it like properly and improve detection, how you control the fraudsters, but let's try to draw some conclusions. In my opinion, it is all a game of cat and mouse. Chewbacca, my cat, not my mouse. And Google Forms is a good example because I reported this thing to Google, and I think that they are the ones responsible for this type, like specific type of fraud being shut down almost completely. Today you will see some scams from this type being spread on Twitter, but it won't be using Google Forms. So someone did something good, like for once. And Twitter, well, they did like more shadow ban users. They will hide the responses, but it will take them a few minutes, which is all it takes to be a victim to such fraud. And fraudsters on their side, well, there's a good example for what we can force them into. Look at this tweet. This tweet. If you'll notice, there is a URL as part of the tweet, but there's space before and after the dot, and between the C and the O, if I'm correct. So it is basically not clickable any longer. And by that, it has negative impact on the lead conversion ratio we were speaking about, and it will make the fraud much less effective. And this is good for us. And I want to push more and more offenders into this kind of a scenario. And this campaign was a single one, a very large one, but it was very unsuccessful in my opinion because I've never seen the same MO being reused, implying it is not good, which is again good for us. MetaMask on their side also are trying to be better, and for example, they will respond to almost anyone mentioning MetaMask with this tweet, telling them you should never ever provide your secret recovery phrase to anyone, as everyone should know. But they will do it almost on every tweet. So should we be optimistic? My advocate, Rocket, disagrees. Yeah. Why I'm saying that? Because I've tried to look what's the current state of the art, of how it goes right now. And there's a random tweet speaking about crypto, assets, currency, whatever. And the responses were as follows. It is all basically crypto scam over and over and over again. And it was there hours after the tweet was posted to begin with. So we should get much better. There's a lot of room for improvement. And we should definitely try and be better. And by we, I'm speaking about Twitter, about service providers like Google in this case. Everything you're seeing here today was reported to Google years ago, and they took action in some cases, at least, saying something good about them when it deserves. And that's it, I guess. Thank you.